And now, we proceed to the last technical session for the day. Please, give me this chance to introduce our last esteemed speaker. Hailing from Malaysia, she sought education in England and completed her undergraduate degree in Bachelor of Science in Industrial Economics and went on to finish her postgraduate degree in Executive MBA with Australian Graduate School of Management at the University of New South Wales. In between that, she became a qualified member of CPA Australia. With more than 25 years of experience in finance, she has worked with businesses of all sizes and industries across the globe. Her career has taken her to various countries, including Australia, Malaysia, the UK, Italy, the Philippines, and the United Arab Emirates. In 2018, she settled in Cebu and took a bold step by establishing BSA Solutions, Incorporated, during the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. Today, BSA offers support to over 35 clients worldwide and more than 400 professionals, helping them reach their goals. Her passion for leading teams and individuals towards success is what makes her work incredibly fulfilling. To talk about corporate athleticism, let us all welcome Ms. Zana Gawan Taylor.
Thank you, IMA, for giving me the privilege to talk about a topic I'm passionate about. And it's nice to see the young, inspiring accountants here in this room today because I was you 20 years ago. I won't actually talk behind this podium because you won't see me. So I'll be walking around and on the stage. So that's the clicker. I know it's the afternoon and everyone is kind of tired. You had a full day already. I want to ask you a question. How long does an athlete need to train to qualify for the Olympics? Any hands? Hours, years. How many years? Hey? 5 years. Anyone else? Of course, the answer is depends. Depends on what sports you do, what sports you take on. So, Wiki said, for an Olympic, to become an Olympian, at least you have to train about 4 to 8 years, about 1 to 3 hours a day. You do intensive 6 months in a year, and then you'll be in that profession, be that athlete for 7 to 8 years before you retire. Right? How long does an accountant need to train to qualify for a C-suite? Guess. A long time, right? A long time. Or to some of us, it's probably, a dream that we aspire to be. But this is from Wiki as well, from Forbes. It takes you more than 20 years. I'm talking about climbing up the corporate ladder. So it takes out, if you have a business, you become a CEO straight away. So you have to work 10 to 12 hours, right? That's kind of a minimum. Then you work 11 months a year. You only have 20 or 30 days in a year for your vacation leave or your sick leave. Even then, you tend to work during your vacation leave. And how long will you be in your profession? 30 to 40 years. So you think, who should actually do the training more? Who should do the body conditioning more? Us, right? Like us. We are the Olympians. We actually have to work more than the Olympians. So, what does it mean to be a corporate athlete? So, there are a few words there. It's focus. You have to maintain high level of energy. You have to be resilient. You have to be good. You have to be an excellent time manager. And you are expected to perform at your best at all times, irrespective of what happens to your personal life. You have to live your personal life at home. When you are at work, you have to be professional, right? So, at any circumstances, beyond our control, we can only control what's happening with us, but we can't control what's work going to throw at you, what's going to happen. So, being a corporate athlete is to actually come out at any circumstances, you perform at your best at all times. That's what it means. We heard about, like mentoring, coaching. I had many coaches, I had many mentors, because I move countries a lot, and I move jobs a lot. So in all the companies that I've worked with, I've always had mentors. And my mentors are hard mentors. They, you talk about compassion, mental health, and all that. That's not in the books. My mentors are hardcore mentors, where there were times that I had to work until 3 o'clock in the morning because I had to present a financial report. I had to be prepared to have all the answers that they might ask. I have to prepare board papers and make sure that I have all the data there is to make sure that I can answer all the questions that the board members would ask me. So, how to be this? It's hard work. We can read a book, but the advice that we had before is find a mentor, and that is really important. And we are human. We have limited energy. We have our own set of problems at home with our families. We have problems at work as well. There are some people we work well with. There are some people we don't want to see in the morning, right? So how do we condition ourselves to be able to tolerate or cooperate? I use cooperate because there are things you can't control, so you have to cooperate with the circumstances, with the environment around you. So, it's called ideal performance state. This is where we need to be at to be a corporate athlete. I don't make this tool up myself. It's actually developed by two guys, Jim Lower and Tony Schwartz. So, Jim is a psychologist. He studied executives. He studied how executive C-suites perform. And he tested his theories with C-suite levels. And Tony was a journalist in his initial career. But at one point, he became a CEO of Walt Disney. So they got together. So Tony went to gym and said, Tony, I want to learn how do we actually improve productivity at work, right? And Tony knows Jim has tested all his research and all that. So this is called high performance pyramid. You can actually look it up. It's in Harvard Business Review article, January 2001. So to actually achieve the ideal performance state, there's a few levels in the pyramid that we have to actually go through. As you can see, this is not really original. You know, the two guys actually make it better, make it a bit more recent, because if you can see, it's actually quite similar to Maslow hierarchy of needs, right? At the bottom of the level is all your physiological needs, your physical capacity. To actually reach ideal performance or state, it's really important that you build your fitness, right? Build your fitness. And then once you actually reach optimum level of fitness, it doesn't mean you have to be a bodybuilder or, you know, you have to have the six packs, right? But you are actually have clean, good bill of health by the doctors. Then you actually reach emotional capacity. That is your feelings, right? That's a lot of boys don't want to talk about it. It's your feelings. Then once you reach that, it's your mental capacity. Mental capacity is where most companies focus on, but not many companies focus on the emotional capacity because it's a hard topic to talk about. Nobody wants to go there. Mental capacity is about the hard stuff, you know, like how you learn how to be a better time manager, how to have tough conversation, you know, rational thinking, how you make decisions. That's your mental capacity. Spiritual capacity, which is at the apex, is the hardest thing to actually achieve. It needs a lot of personal investment. I will go through it in detail one by one later on. But what I want to actually talk first is about how do we go from the bottom of the pyramid to the apex. Is your ability to move up the apex is how good you are at recovery, at creating the rituals to recover from one stress level at physical level to emotional level. So you need to actually build that recovery session to achieve that. So how do you recover? So it's stress plus rest equals to growth. You can't avoid stress. There are good stress, there are bad stress. But stress is good. You need the stress to grow. But for you to grow with the stress, you need to rest. How do you practice rest? Rest is how you distress, how you recover, and how you recharge. Right? So there are three things here. Is mindfulness, to be in the zone. It's important for you in your busy day to take time out. It doesn't need to be a long time. It's probably like 5-10 minutes to be away from your desk or even at your desk to shut out everything, right? Don't look at your computer. You can actually just stare at your table or pick a view, pick a focus point. Then you just try to clear your mind. Clear your mind from everything. You know, I know being an accountant, your mind can be like a monkey. It goes from one topic to the other. Before you stop thinking about one thing, it went to another topic. without, and you lost control of it, right? You lost control. So you just have to learn how to shut that. Second is your intention. Intention is, it's a small word, but it's actually a big word. I bold it out, put out into the universe what you want to receive. If you are on a senior position, it's actually really re-energize you, gives you a good positive energy if you actually help the younger ones in their work. You know, coach them. Be a coach. Be a coach yourself. Because I'm a woman, I would say put out the love. Put out the love out there with your colleague, with your family. That is how you recharge. You clock out at, you know, whenever time you finish. I know Asian countries are well known for working late. We work until night time. When I was in Malaysia, when I was working in Malaysia, it's normal to go back at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. If someone goes out at normal working hours, 5 o'clock, people will look at you and say, you don't have enough work then, right? So it's just, there's a stigma put onto people who goes out, go home early. When I actually started working in Australia, I noticed the culture difference where in Asia, we love to eat. So we go out, we come in the morning, we eat, and we don't eat sandwich, we eat rice. When eating rice, it takes a long time. Then at lunchtime, we had big lunch again, and afternoon, we had our afternoon tea. When I was in Australia, I don't see them spending a lot of hours eating during work hours. When they work, they really work. And sometimes they have they go like, I'm going to go out for a quick bite. And it was a quick bite. It was like 10 minutes and they'll be back in the office. But the healthy things that they do is they don't stay back late. If their finish time is 4 o'clock, you would see the office empty at 4. And nobody would call you in the weekend because no one should work in the weekend for them. For them, weekend and after work is rest, recharge, come back again the next day and do it again. So you come up positive. So there are a few, pro and cons when, that I learned across the different culture. It's been 5 years. I'm in the Philippines. The culture of the Philippines is quite similar to Malaysia. So, I get right into the culture in the Philippines. The third one is faith. For those who trust in God, you need to let it go. And you need to let it flow. Because there are things outside your control. You can plan, you do your best, but then you leave it to God. And you trust yourself because you have put everything possible. You've learned risk management plan, you've put the risk management, you put the, risk action plan, everything, and you leave it there. You need to let it go. For people who don't trust God, there are maybe someone who doesn't trust God in this room, it's fine. You can trust whatever. You can trust the universe. You can trust whatever you think there's a bigger superpower there that knows what's going to happen. And we just have to let it go. So those 3 things, because number 3 for me is really important. Because when I was younger, I'm still young, when I was younger, I get really upset if things doesn't go according to plan. And I beat myself up for not being successful at certain things. But over the years, as I get older, I learn a few things. There are things that you don't know about. There are certain things that happen for a reason. And you just have to have that faith that it happens for a reason, and there's always a good thing that comes out of everything. Always a good thing that comes out of everything. Believe that. So, I will go quickly because this is, everybody knows this. It's just that whether you do it or not, right? Everybody knows we have to drink 1.5 to 2 liters of water. We have to eat smaller meals. We have to do 20 to 30 minutes cardio 3 or 4 times a week. That's a bit hard. Short breaks. That is really important. Short breaks every 90 to 120 minutes. Do that, be in the zone thing every 90 to 120 minutes. Take your eyes off that PC or laptop. Sleep. Sleep is the most important thing in life. More than food, more than rice. Right? It's more. If you don't have enough sleep, for 20 to 35 years old, you should have at least 6 to 7 hours of sleep. Well, as you get older, probably at least 6 hours. You can have, I know there's Mobile Legend or whatever people play nowadays at night after work, and that keeps you awake. The next morning, you would feel that you're not going to function at work after stay up late playing games, right? And your body can do so much. After a long time, having inadequate sleep, you would be sick. You would be sick, and because you don't have clarity during the day, you tend to make bad decisions. When you make bad decisions, it becomes problems. So it's a vicious cycle. So sleep is really important. Sugars. I know it's the kakanin here have lots of sugars. The bread is sweet. Everything is sweet. Halo. I love it, but it's in proportion, right? Everyone die anyway, so in proportion. Emotional capacity. It's important, again, it goes back to that physical. When you do exercise, when you have enough sleep, you have a much more positive outlook on life. You have more energy. You have more patience with people. So when you have more patience with people, you attract the good energy, the positive energy. Who wants to be with someone who is grumpy, right? Who wants to actually eat with someone grumpy? Who wants to actually be with someone who whinge all the time and complain about everything wrong with this world, right? Choose your friends. That's it. Choose your friends and choose who you want to be with, because who you are with, if you're always with someone complaining about things, you're going to actually see all the negative things in the world. There are negative things in the world, but you can shut it. You don't have to see everything. That is it. Feeling calm, feeling optimistic, you're ready for any challenge, you're focused, and you're confident. That's emotional capacity. This is Marion Jones in Sydney Olympics 2000. I know Marion Jones has some drug, she was accused of using drug when she did the sprint. But when she was at the Olympic, she said, I'm out here having a ball. This is not a stressful time in my life. This is a very happy time. And this is what ideal performance state is. At such high pressure time, trying to win gold for America, she said, I'm having a ball. And that's what we should do at work. It's like, I'm having a ball here. You know, I'm really, throw me anything. I'm ready for it. So that's what we should be in. Mental capacity is your cognitive capacities. It's your ability to learn and absorb new things. It's learning how to manage tough conversation, how to do time management. There's a lot of, I'm actually having I'm really excited with all the AI things that comes out. You know, all the productivity applications that you can have, so many of them that can make you be a better time manager. Positive and critical thinking coaching. As I say, if you're a senior, then it's good for you to coach. And if you just, in the early years of your career, choose a coach, choose a mentor. Spiritual capacity. This is the top of the apex. And it's the most complex things. Because it's not black and white. It's, you need to invest your time in this. Invest, and you need to be vulnerable. You need to be open. And you need to ask yourself a lot of questions. Something that you need to do when you are by the beach by yourself or in the nature, when you don't have any noise that influence you, because it has to be from you, not from your parents, not from your husband, not from your best friend. You have to find the answer yourself, and only you knows about it. And you don't have to share. You know, if you want to share, make sure you share with someone who is your cheerleader. Because if that someone is not your cheerleader, they will find 100 excuses for you to not grow. So the first question that you need to ask yourself is who you are and what you want most in life. Is it your career? Is it your love life? Is it, you know, your sports that you choose? You need to know what it is. Understand your motivation and what makes you happy. This second question is when, you know, like some of you might say, I want to be in the C-suite. I want to be a partner in the Big Five. I want to be the CFO of such company and all that, right? That's your motivation. But ask yourself and vision it. Vision it, like if you're there, see, you know, 20 years, 10 years in the future, will you be happy if you get there? Is that really what you want? Is that what makes you happy? And sometimes people say, I want the money, right? Money shouldn't be the driver, because money is like Coca-Cola. It's 0 calories. It helps to make you happy. I disagree with people say money can't buy you happiness. Yes, money can buy you quick happiness, but it's quick, instant gratification we talk about. But you have to go deeper than that. Is sometimes you don't have to be in Mauritius to feel happy and contented. Being in your bedroom is actually good enough. Right? It's being in your bedroom is like, I'm happy here. This is my happy place. And that's like, I'm an introvert, so I found my bedroom, my heaven. So, you know, that's where nobody can talk to me. It's my cave. I call it, I'm going back to my cave. Yeah. And my children can't enter my cave at a certain time. And you have to ask yourself, what is the purpose in life? Why are you on this earth? Why are you on this earth? For, I know, like this round table, they know they found their purpose already. That's why they are there, right? But for the younger ones of you who still thinking about what is your purpose in life, there are 5 questions that you need to ask yourself. What do you care about? Do you care about your children? Do you care about your wife? Do you care about your family? Do you care about KPMG? Do you care about Grant Thornton? What do you care about? Right? And then is, if you die tomorrow, what do you leave on this planet? What would people be, how many people would come to your funeral? What would they be saying to you? Would all your colleagues come to your funeral? And what would they say about you? What would your family say about you? Let's reflect on what matters most. What do you leave? And admit your strength and talents. We do have a problem as Asians to recognize our strength and talents, because we feel that if we say, I'm good at this, I'm fantastic, I'm excellent, you feel that you are arrogant, and that's against our Asian values, because we are humble people, we don't show, we tend to keep it to ourselves. But well, we don't have to say, I'm really good at this. How do you actually show your strength and talent? Is to contribute, right? Contribute to the company, contribute to your colleague, help your colleagues to, you know, like, rather than I want the next promotion. We go like, why not we both go for it, you know? Isn't it the company would be a better place if there's 5 good people instead just one of you? So why not everybody be good? Then is what you say is your purpose, you need to do the action. Your action needs to align with your purpose. Because if your action does not align with your purpose, then you become uncontented. There's something, you know when when you walk or you go somewhere and you do something, there's something missing. That's it. Something missing is your action is not aligning with your purpose. And then the last one is donate your time, donate your money, donate your talent. And there are so many people in the Philippines that needs our help to, take them out of the poverty level. There are some people who are really smart. I heard this story where a friend of mine, he's doing work with some charity organization in the Philippines. He was working on this rubbish community, helping the children in the rubbish community in their education. So they start building kindergarten for them. So the rubbish was like 10-story high, right? They have no place. They don't go to school, of course, but that's where they play. That's where they eat, among the rubbish. So what he does is he built kindergartens, he built school. And there was this one kid, not really kid, a teenager, about I think 17, 19, should be finishing high school. He's really, really smart. But when they ask, you are really smart, you are in, he goes to high school and he's the top kid in school. But he said, and when he is asked, what are you going to do after high school? And he said, I'm going to stay in the rubbish community. Why? Why don't you go, oh, it's too hard. Because people don't want to know, people don't want to actually employ someone from a rubbish community. When they ask me questions, they would know that, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. So why bother? So it's a sad story because there are lots of talents out there, but they were just not given the opportunity. And I think it's our role, because we are smart people, we have the capacity to actually help these groups, right? I know the big companies have lots of corporate social responsibility programs. Be in it, you know, be a part of it, not just a follower, be the leader, you know, organize it, go out there and see how other people live. As a CEO of BSA, you know, I've worked with, I can't remember how many companies I've worked with. I've worked in shipbuilding. My first career is in shipbuilding. We built, the company built fast ferry passengers, car ferries for Sweden, the UK, you know, Ireland, Amsterdam, and they actually have a shipyard in Cebu. So Australian has a shipyard in Cebu, and they build these ships, and they employ, I think, about 2,000-3,000 people, and they actually try to upskill the Filipinos to build high, you know, large ferries. They can accommodate like 1,000 people, 100 of cars. It's just that but it's for export. So then I went into, what is it? I went into a law firm. In each one, I was the accountant in finance, right? In a law firm in UAE, and then I went to a few companies. I was a project accountant for submarines project in Australia. So I've done submarine as well as, then I went into oil and gas, where the clients I work with are Shell, BHP, Chevron, and there are a few things that I learned, but I just not getting it, because I just feel that it's all about being a corporate athlete. You know, like you have to be, I have to perform. Nobody cares about how I feel inside. Nobody cares about what happens with my family. Nobody cares that, you know, I'm having these complex issues with myself. Who do I go to? You know, like we talk about a lot of mental health. At some point, I think I have been depressed. It's just that I didn't know what it was, and I didn't know where to get help. And the impact of that was probably my children. I got 2 kids. They are 22 and 19 now. And I think I could see at certain times, I could actually see some, you know, like I was there, but I wasn't there because I was too busy with my career. I can't remember really when they were young. I raised the kids in most of the, you know, mostly in UAE and Australia. So I didn't have any helper. I was doing all my studies, you know. I did my chartered accounting qualification when I was 8 months pregnant, I think. I went to the exam hall and everybody was young and I was pregnant at the time. And all that. But no work, you know, not any company at the time actually asked me those questions. It's like, are you okay? No one asked me because it was at that time. And I think companies are much better nowadays about mental health, about a bit more compassionate. I think it's the leader nowadays are a bit more aware of where, you know, like a bit more in touch of, like, I understand how personal stuff could actually affect your productivity. So there's more awareness of that. So in BSA, I have the privilege as a CEO to mold the culture so that everyone actually become a corporate athlete, where we look at physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. And that's my passion, is to, when I started BSA, my passion was to actually give people opportunities to be better at themselves, be better people, and give them the opportunity to work with foreign companies without leaving the Philippines. That's another passion of mine. Because I see a lot of Filipinos, the ambition is, I'm going to get all this experience locally, and then when I get to a certain level, I'm going to go out of this country and make my name in the US, Canada, Australia. But there's a cost to it. You know, there's a cost to actually leaving the Philippines. What is your motivation to go out to other countries? You know, when you leave your country, because I left my country to pursue my dreams, my career. I'm not sure, like, if I have a sliding door now, am I better off just to stay? Or am I better off going out of the country to actually pursue my dreams? For me, is the social cost of leaving your country. It's not your country. You're leaving your family. You're leaving your support system. You're leaving your loved ones for what? Money? By the time you get there, you probably save as much as you save when you are in the Philippines. But the social cost of it, you are by yourself. You're far away from your family. You miss your family. You miss birthdays. You miss weddings. You miss funeral. Can you imagine when it comes to your wedding, who's going to come? When it gets to your funeral, who's going to come? Because you never come to other people's funeral. Right? So, searching for money out there, leaving your country, probably not the right question, but it depends on your circumstances. I could understand why, if you have kids, you want to, have a better life, you want your kids to have a better school, but why not doing it here in the Philippines? Go up the corporate ladder, get better salary, and then you can send your kids to a better school. But your kids are going to grow up with their cousins instead of growing up just a small unit of family. So everybody knows LeBron James, right? It's never give up. Life will throw a lot of things at you, but never give up. He missed more than 9,000 shots, lost 300 games, and failed over and over and over again. And he said, that's why I succeeded. Can I ask, I know it's afternoon, can I ask everyone to stand up? And we do this together. And I want to leave this with you. Put your hands on your heart, right? And clear your head. And you follow what I say. I work hard and smart. I love what I do. I care for myself and people around me. I use my strength and talent to make a difference. I am a learner, a servant, and a seeker. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you so much for that very inspiring presentation, Ms. Taylor. Up next is our Q&A section and panel discussion. Okay, so let me introduce to you our moderator for our third technical session titled Corporate Athleticism. In the professional realm, he serves as a financial, regulatory, and risk reporting analyst for Deutsche Bank's legal entity, Deutsche Knowledge Services Pte. Limited. In this capacity, He has been assigned a crucial role in the business finance transfer pricing team. His passion for management accounting continues to shine through his active involvement with IMA Philippines chapter, where he selflessly volunteers as a director for the Student Chapter Relations Committee. His diverse experiences and expertise in the field make him the perfect fit to lead our discussion on corporate athleticism, a topic that delves into the agility and resilience required for businesses to thrive in today's dynamic landscape. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Mr. Aldrin John Urban.
Hello, good afternoon. So good afternoon, everyone. Before anything else, I've prepared some questions that I'll be asking our speaker. But more than that, I'm encouraging our Zoom participants to actually send their questions on the chat. And then our moderator from Zoom will be feeding the questions whenever there are. And then I also encourage our participants here to ask your questions later, okay? So before anything else, I'd like to say that the topic is very close to my heart as well. I know a lot of us here has been experiencing burnout, and then I think everyone can relate actually to the topic. And for my first question is, corporate athleticism more of a personal attitude towards one's career or more like a two-way, should I say, culture or practice where both organizations and us professionals need to proactively exercise?
I think is the company needs to know what you feel, because sometimes you think that they are not doing anything. They are not doing anything because we haven't told them what you feel. So you have approached HR, approach your supervisor and say, this is what's happening now. Is there anything that the company can do? There's, I think, like, I know HMO is, everyone provide HMO, and there's, depends on what your HMO is. There's an institution where you can actually ring if you are not sure, like with your mental health. Seek help. Speak out. Don't actually just have the conversation within yourself. Speak out, because the company nowadays wants to help you.
Okay, thank you. And then for my next question, should every one of us be a corporate athlete?
I think everyone should actually strive for it, because, like, we should be ambitious. And people say, oh, don't be ambitious. Why not? You should be ambitious. You should actually look out all the opportunities that you have out there and grab it and take it. Try it, be brave, and be the corporate athlete. I know it's actually a habit. You have to start somewhere. So start small steps. Build that rituals that we went through in the presentation. And then over time, it becomes second nature.
Right, at the end of the day, it's everything is more of taking the risk.
Yes, definitely. If you think, some people say, I'm risk averse, I'm actually risk taker. I think everybody has that innate character to be risk averse. Because you have to do that when you choose your husband, your wife. That's taking the biggest risk. And I think the biggest decision in your life, it can make your career, it can break your career, is who you choose as your partner.
Thank you. For my next question, how can organizations embrace a corporate athleticism mindset to remain agile and adaptable in a rapidly changing business landscape?
That one is, of course, is to one, of course, you give them learning and development opportunities, have training on soft skills, training in the hard skills as well as programs, like talent engagement program, because of course we don't want you to leave the company because we spend a lot of money training you, we spend a lot of money coaching you and develop your skill. We really don't want you to leave. So for companies, the talent engagement includes something that suits the current generation. HR needs to use more data analytic as to what's the demographic of the company, right? Like say, if they are average, they are between 25 to 30 years, 35 years old. So it's something that, what's going on with this TikTok, Zumba, yoga probably out of fashion right now. Is Zumba is it. So find the things that actually relevant to the generations. That's relevant generations in the company.
And I think it's also one of the ways to attract and retain talents.
Yes,
right?
yeah. And also, like you want to actually build this camaraderie in the workplace environment. In BSA, what we did is we created our BSA Toastmasters. When I started the program, I was thinking more of training people how to have confidence in speaking, building that structure in conversation. Because you use the same principle when you write emails, when you do presentation, when you speak to your clients and all that. But the biggest takeaway that I've got from BSA Toastmasters is the team building. It wasn't meant for team building, it was meant for hard skill. But when they actually do the presentation, they share their very intimate personal stories, and that makes us closer as a company. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. For my next question, what role does leadership play in promoting and nurturing to being a corporate athlete?
Give them the opportunity. And as a leader, you need to coach them. They might, sometimes I find, I speak probably, my experience, it probably be specific to BSA or my children. I'm not sure about the other companies. But what I see is the Gen XY, millennials, whatever it's the grit. It's like, of course, in life, you're going to actually face a hurdle. Sometimes it's a small hurdle, sometimes it's a large hurdle, but you have to have the grit to overcome it. Don't give up easily. And you don't have to actually solve that problem or solve that hurdle yourself. Find your support network and get help to actually go over it, overcome it.
Right. I think there's nothing wrong about asking help.
Yes, it's like asking help doesn't mean you are weak. Asking help doesn't mean you are incapable. Asking help actually means you are strong, because you are okay to let people know that you are vulnerable. And there's nothing wrong to actually be vulnerable, because that should be accepted. We are human, we are not robots. Yeah.
Okay, for my next question, we always hear recently about work and life balance. Do you think achieving all the hierarchy of the high performance pyramid that you discussed earlier is a key to achieve this, or is there more than to that to achieve a happy and a happy life and a happy career?
Yeah. There are, if you read articles and all that, there are conflicting views on work-life balance. Some people say you can have work-life balance, Some people say it doesn't exist. You have to choose. You want work or you want life. But it goes back to your finding the purpose in your life. You have the choice. And there's nothing wrong with choosing work as your priority or your purpose in life, because that's your choice. It's just that when you make a choice, you need to be responsible for the consequences. When you are responsible of the consequences, you'll get there. There's no right or wrong answer between if you choose work over life. There was one lesson that I learned from my ex-boss. He said, Zana, you are as good as the last game you played. So it means it doesn't matter what contribution you did to the company. I've secured, 250 million contracts. I've done this. Look, the company has gone to this much now. I played a part in it. But you cannot stop there. You have to keep going. And as I say, you are as good as the last game you played. You have to continue. To do that, you need to learn how to compartmentalize your thoughts. Because if you have a big project, it's always going to be in your head. It's high pressure. You have deadlines. You have to, prepare board papers. You have to get approval and all that. It's all that. But you need to learn how to compartmentalize where you know how to switch off. And to know how to switch off, my cheat is find a hobby that you really like. Be it sewing, be it karaoke, be it golf. When I came to the Philippines, I said to myself, what's the best thing that this country has? It's the ocean. The water temperature is perfect at all times. There's no winter, there's no summer. So I chose diving. And I am not a good swimmer. I am fearful of going underwater. But I thought, that is a hobby where I can shut up the world because I'll be so focused on saving myself underwater. But over time, I overcome that fear and become second nature. So diving is my hobby. So find a hobby that you really like. Be it hiking, nature really helps you switch off. Find a hobby.
And I think it's more of having responsibility for yourself, knowing where to nurture on your holistic self. I mean, on your physical health, mental health, spiritual, and what else?
Yeah. The best doctor that you can have is yourself, actually, because even you go to the doctor would say, how do you feel, right? He doesn't know how you really feel. So even the best doctor, the specialist that you go, they would ask you, how do you feel? And go say, oh, I feel this and that. Oh, let's go for a check. Let's do this scan. Let's do MRI. So the best doctor is yourself. So it's like we have a choice. Everyone has a choice. But you need to be responsible of the choices you make. It might not be the right choice for you at the time. You made a mistake. Everyone made a mistake. But pick yourself up quickly and move on. That's you live with the consequences, but you don't play victim. You get on with it. Be responsible of your choices and live with the consequences and find ways to overcome it and correct it.
Thank you. And before I jump into my last question, I'd like to ask, are there any questions from our Zoom participants that you wanted? Okay, there are no questions. How about from our audience? Is anyone from the audience would like to ask a question? Sir?
Hello everyone, good afternoon. I am Jasper Radabia, VP for Communications IMA PH chapter. Hi, Ms. Ana.
Hello.
My question would be, as a young professional, it is not unusual that we set big goals and dreams to achieve. As someone who has experience not only in professional but also in personal life, how will we know that we should stop or we should not be doing this anymore and just stop? Is there a clear-cut rule on knowing when we should stop doing or achieving the things that we want to achieve?
Tough question. Well, my honest question is, I go back to the three stress plus rest equal to growth. And the third one is trust in God and trust in yourself. I believe that if you try certain things for a long time and you have given it your best shot, you try different ways of doing things, right? Because sometimes people say, if you do things the same thing, you have the same outcome, right? That you guys know that, right? So then you say, okay, that doesn't work. I'm going to try this new way of doing things. And it's still not helping you to get there. It's not meant to be. Sometimes things are not meant to be. And you go like, okay, maybe I try other things. Yeah. But it's something that you have to feel it in your gut. You have to trust yourself. You have to feel, Of course, don't have the conversation just in your head. As I say, make sure you are surrounded by really good advisors around you. You get perspective from other people, get their views, get their advice, but at the end of the day, you collect those perspectives, you collect those advice, you test it within your values, your dreams, then you make that decision whether to go ahead or to find other things. Do I answer your question? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, any more questions?
Hello, good afternoon. We have
Good
a question
afternoon.
from the Zoom participant. This question comes from Mr. Marlon Baguyot from Watson's. Corporate athlete is very close to his heart. He knows a lot of people who get inspired and motivated to change their behaviors, usually after these types of training. But how do you sustain this in the long term and make it a habit?
Well, people say that's, you've read research that they say you have to do this habit for 14 days. Some people say it's 20 days. Some people say 45 days. Then it becomes a habit. For me, first, after like a corporate athlete or motivation session, is to first ask yourself that, your purpose in life, right? Because there's no point of actually doing the action plan when it's not consistent with your dreams, with your long-term objective, your long-term goals. Find out what are your long-term goals. Then you go like, for me to get there, I need to do A, B, C. To do A, B, C, I need to do this. Then you go, okay, every Wednesday, I'm going to have every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, WMF. I will go home early after work and go to the gym. Or I'll buy a treadmill, or I'll buy a exercise bike and I'll do this 20, 30 minutes. Or you go like, I'm going to actually have 20 minutes of reading time, and that's my focus time. So you have to build the habit within your timetable, but make sure that it's smart, specific, measurable, attainable, and what's it? realistic, and time-bound. It has to have that principle. That principle goes not just your KPI, it's your life as well. You have to be smart. Yeah.
Any more questions from our participants before I ask my last question? Okay, no more questions? Okay, for my last question, what advice
You
would...
have a lot of questions.
This is my last one.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm sorry. What advice would you give to someone who's struggling mentally, physically, and emotionally towards work, where to the point it's compromising his personal life?
Well, you have to understand where that stir comes from. You know, like where is that in that the uncomfort, the things that makes you uncomfortable at work. What is that? Because you have to go back to we have to use science, no? You have to go to your root cause analysis. It goes back, I'm sure, you know, in your profession, you learn that, finding the root cause analysis. So it's not just about work. Root cause analysis, you can apply it to your life. Find that root cause. What caused it? What caused you to feel that way? Because sometimes you are addressing the symptoms, not the cause. If the cause is, you know, like sometimes you just don't find any motivation whatsoever in the company you're working. You've tried everything you can to go up the corporate ladder. You try to talk. Try to talk to your boss about it, and you have exhausted everything. And there's no room for you either to grow, no room for you to learn new things. Then maybe you have to make that decision. It's time for you to go somewhere else, and never be. What is it? You have to be brave. Don't be. If it's not the place for you, go somewhere else and find what you need. Because sometimes you can outsmart the company, and that's all they have for you. Because there's all the other levels, they're still there. They're not moving. So there's no room for you to grow. Then go somewhere else and grow somewhere else. Don't be scared.
Okay, that's my last question. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen,
Right,
let's
thank you
give
so
her a round of
much.
applause.
Thank you so much, Ms. Zana. And may we call on Dr. Josh Ryan, together with the IMA Philippines chapter board members, to come up this stage for the awarding of certificate to our guest speaker and a photo op. In behalf of the Institute of Management Accountants Philippines chapter, we'd like to thank you, Ms. Zana, for your outstanding work, innovative ideas, inspiring advices earlier, and for being with us today. Thank you so much. Again, let's give a warm of applause to Ms. Zana Gowan-Taylor.
Thank you so much, Ms. Zana, for the very insightful segment in this IMA Summit. So, before we proceed to our next juncture, I'd like to